Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. Today's video is a collab with Sammi from Managing the Maze. I'll have a link to Sammi's channel in my description box below, so as soon as you're done watching my video, make sure you head on over, show her some love, and let her know that I sent you. Sammi does what's for dinner videos, grocery hauls, day in the lives, all kinds of good content. I know you'll love her channel. I love her what's for dinner videos. All of her food looks so incredibly delicious. So like I said, I'll have her channel linked in my description box below. If you're coming to my channel from Sammi's, welcome. Like I said, my name is Megan. I do content kind of similar to Sammi. I do weekly what's for dinner videos, grocery hauls, and other recipes. So if that sounds like something you would enjoy, take a look around my channel and consider subscribing. In today's what's for dinner video, I'll be sharing with you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget friendly, and delicious. So if you're looking for some weeknight meal ideas for your family, just keep watching. For dinner this first night, I made BBQ Ranch Chicken Tacos. These are so easy and delicious. I've shared this once before on my channel. I'll have that video linked down below. This recipe is actually from Kat at Southern Farming Kitchen. I'll, of course, have her video linked down below as well. So all you do is take chicken. You can use breasts or thighs. I use breasts. You place them in your crock pot. You can season them however you like, and then you're going to add some dry ranch dressing mix, barbecue sauce, and then cook this on low or high until the chicken is at least 165 degrees internal temperature. You're going to shred the chicken, and then that's it. Now here's what I'm going to use for our tacos. I have some cooked bacon. We have the fajita size tortillas. That's what I'm using. You can use whatever you prefer. Actually, I lied. No, these aren't fajita size. They're just regular soft taco size. We have the shredded cooked chicken, some leftover pico de gallo. I've got some shredded cheddar cheese, some lettuce, and then last time I made these, we used some of this Hidden Valley Smokehouse dressing on it, and they were so good. So we're going to use that again. And then I've got some watermelon. All right, here are a picture of our plates. We weren't super hungry this night, so we just did the tacos and watermelon, and this was so yummy, such an easy dinner, and didn't have to heat up the whole house by turning on the oven. Love crock pot meals during the summer. For dinner the next night, we went out to eat. So this was kind of a combination of several things. One, it was our weekly date night. Two, we were celebrating our anniversary. If you missed last week's What's for Dinner video, our anniversary was last week, but my husband was not feeling well, and we ended up having McDonald's for our anniversary, but we had wanted to have, you know, a nice dinner. And then the other thing was that we were kind of celebrating. So I mentioned before that we have our own small business, and my husband basically had closed on something that he had been working on for a while. And so we just wanted to celebrate, you know, lots of things. So we tried a new restaurant to us. It is in Franklin, Tennessee. This was absolutely delicious. Yes, it was a splurge. Like I said, it was a celebration, our anniversary. And bless my poor husband, he hadn't eaten all day. So let me show you what we had. Gary absolutely loves shrimp cocktail, and they had something, I think it was called a double shrimp cocktail. It was a shrimp ceviche and then a shrimp cocktail, and this was so good. It was so light and fresh. Ugh, yummy. And then for the starter that I chose their burrata salad. So it was burrata cheese with some greens, some heirloom tomatoes, and a balsamic reduction. This was our first time trying burrata cheese, and it was delicious. It was so, so good. For his entree, Gary chose their surf and turf, so it was a filet with lobster tail scallops, and then he added truffle butter to his filet. For his side, he chose French fries, which normally fries are kind of hit or miss at restaurants, I feel like. I don't know what they did to their fries, but these were probably the best fries I've ever had. They were so good. For my entree, I chose I think it was called the Filet Duo. It was 2 filet medallions with crab, asparagus, and then a Cajun cream sauce over it. It was so yummy. And then for my side, I chose their truffle macaroni and cheese. I was so full. I only could take a couple bites of the truffle mac and cheese, but we took the leftovers home and had it for lunch the next day. It was delicious. And then for dessert, we didn't want something super heavy, and so we tried creme brulee. I think we've tried this one other time before, but we couldn't remember if we liked it or not. But this was delicious. It was so yummy, and again, it was just really light and refreshing. And that was our dinner this night. It was really nice to finally celebrate our anniversary and just spend some time together. For dinner the next night, I made honey mustard Ritz chicken. I may have shared this before on my channel, but it's so easy. If you've heard of Ritz chicken, it's basically the same thing. You're just adding one ingredient. So here's what I'm going to use. I've got some chicken breasts, some honey mustard dressing, some Ritz crackers, and salt and pepper. All I'm going to do is season my chicken with some salt and pepper, and then I'm going to dip the chicken into the honey mustard, dip it into crushed Ritz crackers, place it onto a cookie sheet, and then bake it at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes until the chicken is at least 165 degrees internal temperature. Now, I'm using chicken tenders. You can use chicken breasts, of course. You just will want to adjust your cooking time. For one of my sides, I tried a new recipe for a cheesy orzo. I'll, of course, have this recipe and any other recipes from today's video linked down below. I've got this small pot over about medium heat. I'm going to add in some olive oil, some chopped up onions. I'm going to season the onions with a little salt and pepper, and then cook this for about 3 to 5 minutes until the onions are soft. Next, I'm going to add in my orzo pasta, give that a stir, and cook this for maybe 2 to 3 minutes until the orzo starts to get brown. And a quick note, I did half the recipe. So next I'm going to add in my chicken broth, or in this case, I'm just using some water and chicken bouillon. I'm going to add in some garlic powder. I would have preferred to use fresh garlic, but I didn't have any, so garlic powder's fine. I'm going to cover this with a lid, bring this to a boil, reduce it to a simmer, and then you're going to cook this for about 10 to 15 minutes until the orzo is cooked to your liking. You do want to go in though and stir this maybe every 4 or 5 minutes just to make sure the orzo doesn't stick to the bottom. Now, once the orzo is done, the recipe does not call for this, but I had some fresh spinach on hand that I needed to use up, so I added a couple handfuls of spinach, gave it a stir, covered it with a lid, and let it cook for about another minute until the spinach was wilted. Now I'm going to add in the shredded cheddar cheese, and then I have some Parmesan cheese on hand that I need to use up. So I'm going to add that and stir that as well. And then it was a little bit thick for my liking. You could add in a little chicken broth, but I had just a little bit of heavy whipping cream that I needed to use up, so I added just a couple tablespoons, and then that's it. Give it a taste and add salt and pepper if you feel like it needs it, and that's done. All right, here is the finished Ritz chicken. This is so easy, and it was super yummy. And for my other side dish, I've mentioned this so many times. I know y'all are probably sick of me saying this, but I made Mandy in the Makings green beans. Now, I only had 1 can of green beans on hand, so I just made it for myself. My husband, he doesn't love green beans. I mean, he'll eat them this way. That's pretty much the only way. But I knew he didn't love them, so I had a can of turnip greens. I can't remember. I think it's the Glory brand pre-seasoned, so I just warmed those up on the stove for him. And then here is that finished orzo. Here are the plates. So we've got our chicken, the orzo pasta, and then either the green beans or the greens. This was so delicious. That Ritz chicken, just the addition of the honey mustard, I feel like it gives it such great flavor. It's so yummy. Tonight for dinner, we tried something new. I made teriyaki meatballs. I didn't follow a recipe for this, but it's so easy. It's just a couple of ingredients. I'll try to find a recipe similar to what I did and link it down below. To get started, we're going to take our crock pot and add our meatballs. Just use your favorite frozen meatballs. You could, of course, use homemade. I like these that I get from the Dollar General store. They're really yummy, they're inexpensive, and they're a little bite size, so I like them. They're not like the huge meatballs. Next, I'm going to add in my teriyaki sauce. Use your favorite. I like the Sweet Baby Ray's. I'm going to add a little bit of water and shake that up in the bottle to get the excess from the bottle out. And then I wanted this to have just a little bit of a kick, so I had some of this Sweet Baby Ray's sweet red chili sauce on hand. I added just maybe a couple tablespoons, not very much at all. I'm going to give this a stir. I covered it with a lid, and I cooked it on low for about 3 or 4 hours. All right, here is what the meatballs look like when they were done. About 30 minutes before they were done, I gave the sauce a little taste, and I felt like it was a little salty, which teriyaki sauce can be salty. But to serve over rice and stuff like that for dinner, I wanted to add a little bit of sweetness, so I added like maybe a tablespoon or 2 of grape jelly, which might sound weird, but if you think about crock pot meatballs we normally make with barbecue sauce and grape jelly, so I added that, stirred it, and just allowed that to melt the last 30 minutes, and it was perfect. These were delicious little meatballs. For one of my sides, I was going to make some steamed broccoli, but I feel like that's kind of my go-to when I'm making broccoli, is just to steam it. I wanted to do something different, so I looked on Pinterest and found this recipe from Damn Delicious for Asian roasted carrots and broccoli. This was really easy and delicious, so I'll have it linked down below. So to get started, I'm going to take my carrots and add them to a cookie sheet. The recipe said to use baby carrots, which I had, but I also had some regular carrots on hand that I wanted to use up. So I just cut them into similar sized pieces. I'm going to toss them with some oil and a little garlic powder, and I placed them into a preheated oven that was set to 425 degrees, and I baked those for about 12 to 15 minutes until they were starting to get tender. While the carrots were roasting, I made the sauce that's going to go over this. So in this little measuring cup here, you could also just do this in a bowl. I'm going to add in the soy sauce, the brown sugar, the sesame oil, rice vinegar, sriracha, and I'm going to stir that until it's combined really well. Now, I slightly veered off the recipe just a little bit. The recipe said once you pre-cook the carrots, you add the broccoli and then place it back into the oven and cook it for about 7 to 10 minutes, and then add the sauce once the vegetables are cooked. I decided, though, that I wanted to cook the broccoli in the sauce. So after I pre-cooked the carrots, I added my chopped up fresh broccoli. I drizzled the sauce on top of it, tossed it together, and then placed the vegetables into the oven for about 7 to 10 minutes until the broccoli was tender, and these were yummy. You could do it either way. I really don't think it matters much. I wanted to serve the meatballs over rice, so I just cooked up some white rice in my rice cooker. The rice does look a little yellowish, though, because I did add some chicken bouillon to the water as I was cooking the rice. All right, here are the plates. So we have the rice, the teriyaki meatballs. I garnished the meatballs with some sesame seeds and chopped green onions. And then we have the vegetables, and I added some sesame seeds to the vegetables as well. This was so good. Those teriyaki meatballs and the teriyaki sauce over the rice with the green onions were yummy, and the vegetables were delicious. So good. I recommend you all give this a try. And something that I think would also be good to do would be to add some like pineapple chunks to the teriyaki meatballs while they're in the slow cooker. I think I'll do that next time. That sounds really yummy. For dinner the next night, I made Baja Chipotle chicken. This is super easy. I had this half a bottle of Lowry's Baja Chipotle marinade in my fridge that I needed to use up, so I'm going to add it to this Ziploc bag with some chicken breasts and place this into the refrigerator to marinate. You can do this for as little as 30 minutes, but I am going to marinate it overnight. For the side, I tried a new recipe for a fiesta pasta salad. This recipe was actually sent to me by my mom. She had it like at some church function and really liked it. She thought we would like it, and so she sent me the recipe, and it was super easy and delicious. So I'll definitely make this again. Now, the recipe does call for chicken to be added to the pasta salad, but I was already making the chicken and serving it on the side. But you could add the chicken to this salad, and it would be a great lunch, a great like dinner, great potluck dish. So this is what I'm going to use to put this together. I've got garden rotini pasta, some olives, green onions, which the recipe didn't call for, but I had some on hand and thought that would be a nice addition. I've got some frozen corn. I have this roasted corn from Trader Joe's. I thought that would be really yummy to use. I've got some tomatoes that I'm going to seed and chop up. You'll need this package of Hidden Valley Ranch dips mix, the Fiesta kind. You'll need some oil. I wouldn't suggest using olive oil for this. I would do a more mild oil like avocado or canola oil. You'll need some vinegar and then black beans that I am going to drain and rinse. Now with everything, make this your own. You could, use a different kind of pasta, use or add different vegetables. Like I think bell pepper would be really good in this, or you could also add some chopped red onion. Now in this little measuring cup, I'm going to start out by making the dressing. Super easy. All we're going to do is add in the oil, the vinegar, and the Fiesta dip mix. Give that a stir until it's combined really well. Set that to the side. That's it. Now, like I said earlier, this is great for potlucks or barbecues, cookouts, get-togethers, because there's no mayonnaise in this, so you don't have to really worry about it sitting, out in the sun or out at room temperature. So to put this together, we're basically just going to combine everything. In this bowl, I have my cooked and drained pasta. I'm going to add in my corn, the black beans, the chopped tomatoes, and green onions. And then for the olives, if you're a regular subscriber of mine, I do not like olives, so I'm not going to add them at this point. I'll add them to part of the salad later on. So once I've got all my kind of fixins for the salad, I'm going to stir it until it's combined really well and then drizzle the dressing over it. And at this point, I thought that it would be good to add in some Monterey Jack cheese. I just had it on hand, so I cubed up a little bit of it. Again, the recipe doesn't call for it, but again, make it your own. Add whatever you'd like. So I stirred the cheese in, and then I'm going to cover this with a lid and place this into the refrigerator to chill while I cook up the chicken. And here's the finished pasta salad. Like I said, I took out some for myself and added the olives and gave it one final toss. For the chicken, I had every intention of grilling it outside on our grill, but it was nasty outside at dinner time. It was storming and really windy and thundering, so I just decided to place the marinated chicken breasts on a grease baking dish, and I baked this at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes until the chicken was at least 165 degrees internal temperature. I removed it from the oven and allowed it to rest for about 5 minutes before I sliced it up. All right, here are the plates. So we just have the chicken and the pasta salad. Such a light and refreshing dinner, but delicious. And we had tons of leftover pasta salad that we ate for lunch over the next few days. For dinner the next day, we did really simple sandwiches. I had driven up to Kentucky and back to visit my grandpa, and so I really didn't feel like cooking. If you're new to my channel, I live in the Nashville, Tennessee area. My parents and my siblings live there as well. We have pretty much my whole life. But we're originally from a small town in South Central Kentucky. That's where my aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, all pretty much live in that same area. And my grandpa, he's my last living grandparent. He is 89 years young, and we wanted to go up and see him for kind of an early Father's Day. So my mom and one of my sisters and I drove up there and back to visit with him. It is kind of a long drive for me, but it is totally worth it to be able to visit with him. On our way back, we had stopped at an Amish market. We love getting their homemade sourdough bread and their German bologna. And so I had picked that up along with some fresh produce. I got some fresh cantaloupe, tomatoes, and cucumbers. So for dinner, like I said, after driving all that time, I just did not feel like cooking. So we just had bologna sandwiches and some of the cut up tomatoes, cucumbers, and cantaloupe. Delicious, so simple, but that fresh produce was amazing. There is nothing like a good homegrown cantaloupe and tomato, and cucumber too for that matter. That was our dinner this night. For the last dinner in this week's video, I made Tamara's cracked chicken bake. I made this once like a month or two ago, and we really enjoyed it, so I was excited to make it again. This recipe is from Southern Wife Everyday Life. I'll have her video linked in the description box below. And a quick note, if you've never heard of the quote-unquote crack food, it's not meant to be disrespectful at all, but it is basically just ranch, cheese, and bacon. So if you hear people say like I made cracked potatoes or cracked hash brown casserole or cracked chicken, it's just meaning that it has ranch, bacon, and cheese. All right, so before I start on the chicken though, I'm gonna start one of my side dishes. I'm making just some simple roasted potatoes. I have these little baby red potatoes. They have been pre-washed. I'm going to slice them in half, add them to a bowl. I'm going to drizzle some oil over it. And then for seasonings, really use whatever seasonings you like or what you've got on hand. Tonight, I decided to use some dry ranch dressing mix as well as some of the Auntie No-No seasoning. So I'm going to add that, stir the potatoes with the seasonings and oil. I decided to add just a little bit of salt and pepper as well. So I'm going to add that and stir it until it's combined. Now, Tamara's recipe says to cook your chicken at 350. I normally roast my potatoes at 400, so I wanted to cook them both at the same time. I met in the middle, and I preheated the oven to 375 degrees. I'm going to add my potatoes to a cookie sheet. I like to all put them cut side down just so that that side gets nice and brown. This is going to go into the preheated oven, and I baked these for about 20 minutes, and then I will take them out, flip them, and then I'll put the chicken in the oven at that time. Now for the chicken, this is so easy. In a bowl, you're going to add some softened cream cheese. I'm using some of this cream cheese spread. To that, we're going to add some dry ranch dressing mix. Stir that until it's combined really well. Add in some shredded cheddar cheese. Again, stir it until the cheese is combined. And then we're going to add this to our chicken breasts. I've got my grease baking dish. I'm going to add my chicken breasts. I just took two chicken breasts and sliced them in half horizontally to make cutlets. Really, you could season your chicken however you like. Tamara suggests using salt, pepper, and garlic powder, so that's what I do. I'm going to season both sides, and then once I've done that, I'm going to add some of the cream cheese ranch mixture to the chicken. Just divide it up evenly and using your spoon or a fork, spread it out just as best as you can. I mean, it can be a little bit difficult with the cream cheese, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Again, just do the best you can. This is going to go into the preheated oven and bake for about 20 minutes. For my other side, I made some quick roasted zucchini. I just took a zucchini and cut it into sticks. I'm going to drizzle it with a little bit of oil. For seasonings, again, use whatever you'd like. Tonight, I decided to use some Cavender's garlic powder, a little bit of salt, and some pepper. I'm going to toss that all together, and then I decided to cook this in the air fryer. I think I cooked it at 360 degrees for about 10 minutes, and I flipped it halfway through. After the 20 minutes, I removed the chicken from the oven, added some more shredded cheese, and then some pre-cooked bacon. This went back into the oven and bakes for another 7 to 10 minutes. You just want to make sure that you cook it until the chicken is at least 165 degrees internal temperature and your cheese is nice and ooey gooey melted. Here are the finished roasted potatoes, and we like to dip these in ketchup. Ugh, so good. I love potatoes and ketchup. Then we've got the cracked chicken bake, as well as the roasted zucchini. Next, I'll show you the plates. All right, here's our dinner. This isn't necessary, but I added some chopped dried chives to the cracked chicken bake. That is so delicious. If you haven't tried that before, I recommend you give it a try. The chicken is tender and juicy and flavorful. The potatoes were delicious. The zucchini was yummy. Such a good, easy dinner. All right, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it gave you some dinner inspiration. If it did, hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And don't forget to go check out Sammi's channel. Again, I'll have it linked in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.